What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. Survivor Season 46, Episode 9. Just came out titled Spicy Jeff, and let me tell you, it was a spicy episode. Last week we had the crazy tribal council, definitely the craziest of the season, where Q said, "Send me home." They didn't listen. Everyone was telling everyone about who had idols. Q spilled the beans about Tiff having an idol, which was the first anyone heard about that besides, the three, since they were working together since the beginning of that game. Chaos at Tribal, Tevin ended up going home. Now we're starting this episode looking to jump into the drama of Q telling people that Tiff has an idol. Kenzie, Tiff, and Maria are mad because that puts a target on Q's back, everything that she did, or everything that he did. Q says he tried to take the heat because he tried to switch votes last minute and, tried to fall on his own sword, basically, and, take accountability for, what he had done trying to switch the votes last minute and messing everything up. Tiff comes to speak her mind to Q. He said he told people that she had an idol because she mentioned Maria's name, and Maria was part of the six of that little +1 alliance they had going on, which was, as Charlie said, the worst excuse for a alliance in probably Survivor history. But Tiff says how she only knew that Q had been telling people about her idol because Charlie told her at Tribal Council. Venus and Liz are kind of in the background listening in, and Liz is upset because all of the work that she put in all day for the move to happen to get Tevin out, she's been trying to get Tevin out for a while, and now feels like Q did all that and it took the attention away from her and the move that she made. And she doesn't want to get lost in the game as she feels. I feel like we've had a few instances of that this season. Venus has felt that way, 1 or 2 votes as well. Ben says now there's no value in voting Q out because he kind of, in Ben's words, said it was a poser move because he didn't want to be at the bottom and he felt he was going to be left out of the vote. So that's why Q tried to, flip the votes at the last minute and tried to do that. Venus is thriving in the mess, she says. Venus and Hunter kind of have an argument about him writing her name down, and I did see this on Twitter too. Like, we've been talking all season about, Venus having, some interactions with Tevin and Soda. But honestly, there's been some funny Venus and Hunter, funny from the outside arguments between Venus and Hunter, and that was just another one there. Seems to be going downhill fast for Hunter and Q. Hunter says how his game kind of messed up because of what Q did. How his game's kind of messed up because of what Q did. His 3 main people, Tevin, Q, and Liz, he doesn't want to work with anymore. Obviously, Tevin's gone and doesn't really want to work with Q and Liz anymore. Still has an idol, though, so he's not done yet, and obviously he's incredible at challenges. Tiff and Kenzie are completely done with Q, as they said. Get the tree mail, and they have to divide into 3 teams of 3 for the immunity challenge today. And Tiff and Kenzie pair up with Ben almost immediately. Charlie, Maria, and Hunter get together as well, and it kind of just leaves, as they said it, kind of the leftovers, Venus, Liz, and Q, who didn't get that initial connection. And that just takes you back to high school, or really takes you back to school at all. It's like, all right, pick a partner, and you're kind of just sitting there, and everyone else teams up. Sometimes you get lucky, your buddy's in the class, you can be like, hey, let's team up. And if you're not in the class with a buddy, then you kind of just get stuck with whoever else is left. Q and Venus talk about possibly taking a shot at Hunter. Q then talks to Charlie about possibly throwing the challenge to maybe get Hunter out. Charlie isn't here for it, though. Throwing a challenge is yuck, as he says, and I agree with Charlie. Charlie goes to tell Maria, obviously his #1 ally in this game to this point. Neither of them are down for it. I feel like Q knows he made a mistake, but instead of laying low, like I would do if you make a mistake like that in the game, he's doubling down on it and seems like trying to cause more chaos. Maria still wants Tiff out because she brought her name up and that she has an idol. Immunity challenge time. Tiff says how the randomness of choosing this game, because Jeff kind of questioned, like, hey, this is an important, we're down to the final 9, we're close to the end of this game, how is there not more strategy in picking the groups for this, challenge today? And Tiff says the randomness was to get away from chaotic energy. Her and Q kind of go back and forth for a second. And this is just really, really taking a hard turn from that 3 of Kenzie, Tiff, and Q, being a 3 that, I thought could last to the final 7, 5, whatever. They made it through the tough early part of the game together, and it is just the past 2 episodes just completely flipped on its head. So competing as groups of 3, the winning 2 groups move on to the next stage. The last group moves on, and they compete against each other for who gets the immunity necklace. Jeff predicts Q, Venus, and Liz first out. I I can maybe recall maybe like one or two other times that he's, made a prediction going into a challenge. Maybe he does it more. We don't get to see it, but if he does, I would, because that's funny. But I also don't believe that was going to happen. I know that they edited it like that and left it in there for a reason, but I didn't think that group was going to be first out anyway. Kenzie's struggling for her group of three to get across the beam. Hunter, Charlie, and Maria are the first three to move across. Q, Venus, and Liz do move on. And Jeff was wrong. He said, I own that. So that means that Kenzie, Tiff, and Ben are first out. And shout out to Kenzie. She did eventually get across that beam. And Ben and Tiff did make up some time, but it just wasn't enough in the end. Second phase is building a rope bridge across. And then shooting balls on the small rings once everyone gets across. Hunter, Charlie, and Maria move on. The last phase, the individual phase is hanging on. This is when I'm taking my notes here. I literally did not even know how to describe this. But obviously, if you watched it, I'm assuming if you watched this video, you watched the episode. That hanging on to the thing, hands behind your head, feet on a small platform. That's what it is. Don't know a good way to explain it at all. I remember, I believe this is the challenge back in, Tocantins, where Coach had that back problem and was, like, hanging on there, like, screaming, and then he fell off. I don't know. Let's go back and watch that. Those some iconic Survivor moments. Maria falls down, so it's Charlie versus Hunter again, same as last immunity challenge, and what a battle, going back and forth, hanging on there, and Charlie wins it. Charlie gets revenge on Hunter. Wow. Secures a spot in the final 8, Charlie as well. And obviously safety tonight. Kenzie says in the group, once they get back, they're kind of sitting there after the challenge and says, anyone want to volunteer to go home tonight? Q's going to try and rekindle stuff with people. He immediately realizes that is not going to go well. Kenzie is not having any of it. He tried to pull there was a group of 6 that Tiff didn't tell you about, trying to turn them against each other. She's not going for it. Q says to Hunter, we're target 1 and 2. Which one of us is going to go? And that kind of seems the direction it's going. But if that seems like it's the direction that it's going, something's going to flip on its head, especially with still quite a bit of time before Tribal Council. Kenzie and Venus have a similar idea of everyone distracted by those two in Q and Hunter, that tonight's the perfect night for a blindside. Kenzie tells Charlie, Maria, and Hunter, let's get Tiff, turning on her number 1 ally in this game because she's comfortable and has her idol. And she even says in the confessional, like, I know she's my number 1, but, we're both competitive and, we know that, one of us is going to have to turn on each other eventually, I think is what she was getting at. So they need to grab Ben to get in on that group. Hunter said he's fine with acting like it's him because, that kind of seems like the consensus anyways. And obviously he knows in the back of his head that he does have an idol as well. Kenzie brings in Ben. He's down. Maria's like, dang, that was my move. I wanted to make that move since Tiff obviously brought up her name. Charlie wants to keep Tiff comfortable, so he goes and talks to Tiff. Tiff says how she wants Q or Hunter out. Obviously, those are the 2 obvious choices at this time. But then Tiff also says how she wants to flush her idol. She doesn't want it. She's like, everyone knows it. This is just a target on my back. I just want to get rid of it. So Charlie, it's nothing Charlie did. He was doing the right thing, trying to make her feel comfortable, especially if that's, a connection that he had in the game. He's also doing the smart thing for his game, too, thinking about possible end games. But it's a good thing he did that because now they find out that, she's possibly just going to play her idol just to get rid of it. And obviously they're trying to get her out and blindside her. So that's useful information to have. So Ben, Charlie, and Maria talk about just going to get Hunter now since the plan blew up. Kenzie's like, fine, it's a kind of boring plan, but if it's the whole group wants, like, what am I going to do? Hunter's beginning to feel nervous. Hunter's literally running the numbers in the sand, and I love it because that's exactly what I would be doing if I was there on the beach as well. He said he's 100% playing his idol. Pin that, please. He tells Q he's playing it, and let's vote for Ben. So he's trying to grab a little plan together. Hunter tells Venus and Liz about the idol and voting for Ben and like, hey, let's play ball. I know we've been against each other, but let's play ball and we can own it together. He should not have done that because now everyone knows the plan. They turn around, tell everyone, so everyone's just switching the plan now around. Are they changing the votes to Q maybe? Tiff's like, I'm playing my idol if he's playing his. And I feel like we're heading for another live tribal. As soon as that happened, as soon as he told more than Q, if he would have just told Q, I think this would have been a fantastic move because him and Q could have voted Ben. And if everyone else was switching the votes from Tiff and they said they were going to do Q, but if they were really going to take that shot at Hunter, because if they're smart players, they were going to take the shot at Hunter because he's, a incredible challenge threat. So if you're doing that, them two vote Ben, that's all you need to know. because aside from maybe one stray vote, you're going to have 2 votes on Ben, the rest of the votes on you, but you're going to play your idol. And then, like I said, maybe a stray vote here if they try to, offset it with someone so it's not just one vote, but probably only one vote would go separate from the Hunter vote, right? But now you open up that can of worms to more people. And besides that, you open it up to a can of worms of someone in Venus that you don't really trust and you've gone at for a handful of episodes. And then Liz, who you didn't trust after last week anyway, and you said earlier in the episode you didn't want to work with. So that was just kind of, as soon as that happened, I'm like, if you don't play your idol, it's done. It's done for you. So we get to Tribal Council, and feels like we're in for another doozy, as I said. Jeff says, last Tribal, it was good, but he feels like he could have done better. He pulls out a cushion, and the best part, he brought out popcorn. And he actually does let everyone have some popcorn, because it is rude to invite you into my house and not offer you any food, so he lets them all have some popcorn. So that was a funny, cool moment at the beginning of Tribal. Tiffany versus Q again, they go back and forth there for a minute. Cat's out the bag that Q said Hunter's name too, and that seems to confuse everyone, I don't know why that confused everyone. Q says he sat on the beach by himself most of the day, trying to refute it, but I'd have to go back, but I thought that Q said Hunter's name. I'm pretty sure he said Hunter's name before. He said he never said it, but I don't know. Hunter's so confused, but as he says, he doesn't have the necklace this time. Hunter keeps asking, are we good? Are we doing Q? Is it good? He's asking everyone. He's asking Kenzie right behind her. And I'm just thinking in my head this whole time. I'm sure everyone is. And obviously it's, you're playing Survivor from home. You're not actually out there. You don't know what's going on. Yes. But you should have a few common rules when you go into this game. If you had to think this hard whether you're going to play your idol, which I'm sure we see every season, a lot of these players probably think long and hard, or longer and harder than we see on, actually pan out them think about, should I play my idol, should I not? But we're seeing you think about this much. If you had to think about it that much, it doesn't matter if you have that idol for tomorrow if you're not here tomorrow. Yeah, you can win, it doesn't matter, if you can, think you can win another immunity challenge tomorrow or the next day and, use your idol in this way or use it tomorrow. You have to get to tomorrow. That's why, yes, I know we're just playing Survivor from home. We're just watching as fans from home. But in my mind, everyone should have that. If it comes down to it and you have to think about it that much, nothing matters if you're not here the next day. So if you have to think about it that much, just play the idol. And that's what I'm like. I'm not trusting the plan at all. You got to play that thing. Everyone's still talking around while Jeff's having a conversation with Q, then having a conversation with Tiff, and everyone's, Hunter's checking, as we said, going back and forth. Everyone's talking is this what we're doing? Is this what we're doing? But this is hilarious. I love it. This is peak Tribal Council, back-to-back incredible Tribal Council episodes. But it's obviously very similar at last Tribal as well. But still, both absolutely incredible. Will there be a different result this time, though? And so everyone votes. No one's playing anything. Hunter doesn't play his idol. Tiff doesn't play an idol. No one plays anything. Hunter, dude, you gotta play it. So we actually get a tie. 4 for Q, 4 for Hunter, 1 for Ben. And that was the Q vote for Ben. So Hunter, if you would have played your idol, you would have been safe. You wouldn't have got Ben out because they did split the votes with Q. So I guess it is smart that they did that. But you don't know if they just changed it to split the vote because you told everyone that you have an idol. So they revote, and I was confused because I thought you could play your idol on a revote, but I guess you can't. So Hunter does go home, and oh my god, man. If you're struggling that much, as I said, whether you should play an idol or not, just play it. Nothing matters. No advantage. No idol. It doesn't matter how good you are in an individual immunity challenge. It does not matter if you're not here the next day to use it. And preview for next week, Maria and Q may be working together. So that was just another insane episode. If the rest of the season is even remotely like this, we are in for a treat. I've been trying to do this at the end of every recap. I did stock checks. I think that I still am really high on Kenzie right now. I'm really high on Charlie too. Maria as well, just because I think Charlie and Maria are playing a big part of this game. The only thing I think about that Charlie, Tiff as well, but we see that Kenzie might be trying to break off from Tiff. But the only thing with, honestly, kind of both of those pairings, if you look at them as pairings, is will people look at them as oh, you did this as a pair? Well, right now I don't really see anyone else aside from those 4 that it's like this person's for sure gonna win if we get to, like when they get to the end. But we're in for an interesting finish. So it'll be an incredible last couple episodes coming down. I think 3 or 4 episodes left. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.